Welcome to the wood shop. I'm your host today, Nick. Today's episode of What's Going On in the Wood Shop, we're going to show you how to make the DM sign. So come on in and let's get started. Alright, the first step to any project is we have to have a plan. So for the DM sign it was pretty easy because we knew what we wanted to do. But usually I'll come in here on our design board and draw it out a little bit. So the DM sign, kind of like this. Okay, so we got a pretty good idea of what we're going to build. Now let's go get to it. The next thing we do after we get our design is I went in and printed off some paper cutouts of the design. This is smaller, so we can we're going to create a demo, a mock-up today, just so we can see if the process we're going to use is going to work and if it's going to be too heavy or too light or what's going on. So I printed these and cut them out, and I have this piece of 1/2-inch plywood, birch, that I had lying around that I'm going to use for our models today. It's too big, so I'm going to put my cutouts on the piece of wood, like so. Measure these out and cut this to the size. Now it's very important to know when you're measuring that the better you measure and the better you make your cuts, the faster it's going to be. So you don't have to do touch-up work and clean up and recuts later. So we're going to get this measured out and cut up. Okay, once we made our cuts out of that 1/4-inch birch plywood, I made 2 of them, one for the front and one for the back. They're about the size of the measured width and height of the DM that we designed earlier on the board. So now what I'm going to do, if you come over here and look at this, is put my stencils on top here that I printed out earlier. I'm going to lay these out and then I'm going to trace over them, come back, and then cut out the shape and both of these pieces of plywood. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Now that we have our stencils traced out on our plywood here, I just traced it out on the top layer since we're going to cut them both at the same time. I'm going to line them up real straight here, and then I'm going to take some of our wood clamps and clamp them onto our workbench, and then we're going to go ahead and clamp this down, and then we're going to take our jigsaw here, cut out around the stencil tracing so we get a nice image of our DM onto our wood now. Alright, we just got finished cleaning up our DM templates here for the front and the back of the sign. So we have these 2, they're ready to go. And I just finished cutting some 1/2-inch poplar wood into 1/2-inch cubes, long sticks that we're going to use to put in between the 2, the front and the back, like this, to give it depth. So we're going to go ahead and cut these, and then we'll use our brad nailer to staple them together, and we'll do it around the whole thing so the sign will be that thick. Now we've got our DM sign set and stapled. It looks kind of like this. There's a little bit of gaps in between, but that's fine. We're going to fill that. So now this is kind of what our end product is going to look like. And so now we're going to coat it, or dress it, if you will, with a concrete type substance known as thin set mortar, which is used for tiling. We just got this down at the Home Depot. The gray, I got the pre-mix because it makes it a little easier. Thin set, it's used for walls, floors, countertops, for tiling. So we have that. We have a trowel for smoothing, and a grout float just for additional smoothing that we might use or we might not. I'm going to use gloves here so I don't get this mortar under my fingernails. Makes cleanup a lot easier. So what I'm going to do here, put my gloves on, get a screwdriver, and open this puppy up. So it's pre-mixed, easy for us to use, and I'm just going to scoop it off here and put it right on top of our mold, like so. And just kind of smooth it off, and then I'm going to do this around the whole thing, just on the front side, and the back side I'm going to leave as wood, and do the insides. We just now completed trimming up our DM sign. Just kind of took the edges off, the rough spots, so when we cover it now it'll be smoother and easier to work with. Clean up our workspace a little bit now. What we have is a polyblend sanded grout of the color of your choice. We're with the DeLorean gray today. I think that's closest we can have to our DM color. So we're just going to go ahead and you just add water, you mix it. Normal mixing bowl and my water here. I'm going to go ahead and use my gloves again. It's the easiest way I found to mix, especially in small quantities, is just by hand. So here we go. Ooh, that's nice. We're not going to need too much for the sign here. I always want to start off with a little, especially if you're doing small quantities, and then add to it so you can make sure you get the right consistency and the right amounts. So I don't know if you can see what this is looking like in here. Okay, now that we have this all mixed up, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to apply this to our sign just like we did with our thin set mortar, and this is going to be our final covering here. Take the gloves off here. Get the same trowel I used last time. It's actually a little putty knife. We're just going to go ahead and apply it right on top. It'll smooth out better than our mortar did, but it's also not as sticky. That's what's going to give us a clean, smooth, concrete type texture. Another thing you can do is get it wet a little bit, and that'll help the grout to stick a little bit better. Okay, well, we just spent last little while coating the DM sign with our grout, smoothed off the edges, kind of the corners, did a little work on it to make it smoother, because this is how it's going to end up. We're going to let it dry like this with all the pieces, with all the corners like this and the edges, kind of leaving it a little rough. But it's going to end up looking like this, so we're going to let it dry and come back in the morning and see how it looks. We've let the DM sign now dry for 24 hours since yesterday. This is the first look we're going to take at and see how we did. As you can see, it looks pretty good. It's all hard now, hardened up almost to the substance of concrete. Now I'm just going to take a little knife and try to chisel it out here from the table that it's set on. Okay, we got it all scraped loose now. Gently just pick it up. And there is the DM sign. You can see the back, still wood, and it has some overhang here. We'll take care of that in a minute. I'm going to go through now and just clean up the edges and the top and give it kind of more of a finished look to it. Alright, we got all our curves and our little burrows off of our DM sign. What do you think? Huh? Bien. Got the back prepped. Now we're going to put a matting on the back, a felt, and some feet, and our hanging brackets, so we'll be ready to mount. Okay, now that we got our DM sign complete on the front and how it's going to look from the outside, we're going to put on a felt backing to protect it from scratching any walls. So I've cut out some felt pieces here that I'm going to apply to the back of the wood of the DM sign with our Craft Bond spray adhesive that you can buy at any local hardware and or craft store. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on the wood and on the felt and just stick them down there. Okay, here it is, the DM sign. We got our feet screwed in here, strategically placed, that are going to hold the sign off the wall, just with regular screws right on top. And we have our mounts, our wall mounts, two of them up here, so we can mount it to the wall. I screwed these in. They came with nails, but because of the weight of the sign, I put screws in just to avoid any possibility of it falling off. And here it is, the DM sign, just how we thought it was going to be. So once we're done making our piece of work, the last thing we have to do is to display it. Look at that, huh? DM on the wall. So there you have it, folks. From the wood shop, how to make a DM sign. I'm Nick Lyon. Thanks for coming by. And remember, if you can make it out of wood, you can make it at the wood shop.